Okay, let me clear up. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Two Broken Thumbs, the only podcast where we don't poop our pants. I am your host, Cole, from Cole's Corner. Right. And with me, as usual, is my co-host, James.
Hello. Just over here not shitting myself, I guess.
Listen, I saw McDonald's ad. Which one of you would make? Oh yeah, sorry. So for those watching the YouTube, this is on the Twitch. So I'm probably gonna read some comments. I'm a McRib fan. I like the McRib.
Oh yeah.
I think I like the McRib. I don't know if I actually like it. You know.
My uncle told a story about when he used to work at McDonald's. When the McRib was in, what he would do is he would take pieces of, McRib and like hide them at the bottom of like the barbecue sauce that they just swim in all day. And that way they stayed down there and cooked for like 8 hours. And then at the end of the day, he would take them and make a sandwich with them. And that was always the best part.
That sounds so good. Oh, that sounds smart. If I ever break into a McDonald's, I'll do that.
There you go.
Well, I mean, I guess that's not where the pooping story was going. I just wanted to bring it up because I still think it's hilarious to this day. Gluttony. I still think it's hilarious to this day that Putin did in fact fall down a flight of stairs and just pooped his pants.
How would we know about that? Like, how did...
I read the article, and it was because some of his bodyguards is in like a secret Telegram group. And they told everyone like, hey, the guy just fell down a flight of stairs. They're like, is he okay? He's like, yeah, but there's a little bit of brown on the back of his pants. So I don't know about the piss, but I think he did shit.
Well, I guess that's a really, that's the next step. We should figure out if he also pissed himself.
We got to take his old pants and just give it a good sniff. Go,
Yeah, so, no, not that.
Not that one. No. No. All right. Well, I mean, you're the coward here.
True.
Where are we? How do we transition this? I want to talk about it, but I didn't think about how I would escape from it.
Sometimes they talk about Putin being able to fight bears.
Ah.
You know what else is an apex predator? A wolf. There you go.
There. This is why you're the best co-host.
Yeah.
You got locked in perfectly. Yeah, so we are talking today a movie about wolves. And you know what? We're just going to say this is going to be a topic discussion that I have pretty good knowledge of and James does not.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about anime. James, have you watched anime?
I saw one episode of some high school zombie big titty anime.
Oh, this High School DxD?
Yeah, probably that one.
Okay.
That was entertaining, but not for the reasons they intended.
Correct.
I've seen the thing we're about to talk about twice. So that's pretty good.
Didn't you see Ponyo too?
Oh yeah, I saw Ponyo.
He sounds like you.
Right.
Ponyo is one of those ones where people talk about as if like they talk about it and they go like, yeah, it's fine, but it's not anything like mind blowing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I don't know. I've got no other anime to compare it to besides this and titty zombies. So here we are.
Very different tone wise. I will give you that.
Oh yeah, we diversify our content here.
Well, I guess we could just jump right into what the movie is. This movie came out in 2012 and was directed by, I'm going to butcher his name because I'm bad at saying names, Satako Okudura. I think that's right. He is known for the anime Summer Wars, which is... the anime Summer Wars, and the movie The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Have I seen either of those? Anyways, he's also credited for a bunch of other like TV series in Japan. But I looked a little into his past, and he originally was working for Funimation. Then he hopped over to another company, and then like 2012, he was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna make my own company with blackjack and hookers, and I'm gonna make my own movie." And his first standalone film project was Wolf Children, the movie we talked about today.
Yay!
Yeah, I did it. We got there. We got there.
We arrived.
It sure did. And I just want to say, the reason we're talking about this film is because at our apartment complex, Pat and I do a movie night on Fridays. We try to do like every Friday. And last month's theme was just my favorite films. We watched Logan, which I think is one of my favorite superhero movies. I don't know how you feel about Logan.
It's good.
We watched the black and white version because I think that one's like super cool. Then we watched.
If it works for you.
We watched Shrek 2.
Yes, the other masterpiece.
I mean, it is. It's really good.
We
watched Shrek 2, and then we watched 2 anime movies, which I didn't even realize I liked 2 of them until I thought about it. Which was The Wind Rises and Wolf Children. And out of all 4 of those films, I was like, I need to talk about Wolf Children again. I want to talk about Logan, but I feel like that's going to be saved for another episode in some future.
All right.
But I think Wolf Children is a perfect pick because it tackles both the sort of indie theme we've never really touched on and anime, which one of us likes. So James, the words are hard. Do you know what like the definition for like an indie film is? Not like an independently made film, but like the idea of like an indie themed film.
Like an indie themed film? I guess no, not really.
Okay. Well, from what I understand, it mostly relates to talking about like instead of there being like this big overarching plot or drama that's happening. Sorry, it's in my throat. It's just characters living their lives. Like it's just like a show or a movie where people are just kind of living. A great
like
example.
Slice of life, or...
Yeah, kind of slice of life. That's definitely one of the big ones. But there's no real structure to it. And most of the times it's like seen as like, oh, just a montage of people going from one place to another, doing one thing and another thing. Which happens in Wolf Children. It does happen in that, but it's always to me, indie films are some of the most interesting because it's very character focused, and I'm a big fan of more character focused storylines.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Like it's always fun to watch someone beat the shit out of somebody else, but sometimes it's just nice to like pull it back a little bit, kind of relax and kind of just see characters interact.
Yeah,
but I guess
that's probably the core of most dramas generally.
And that's
probably yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, that's like probably the core of most dramas. Really, it's gonna give you characters that you can relate to or understand, and then put them in situations and see how they deal with it.
Kind of give you like a baseline understanding of how a character's emotions or like traits are early on, and then as you're watching, you're like, oh, this is what they'll do because that's logical.
Right, exactly. Anything about like most stories that have been told throughout history, they're generally character focused with like lessons to be learned through them based on, the actions that they take during their story. So it's nice because you can pull it off without having a big budget or something like that.
Yeah, big budgets usually stay away from more indie themed because like how are you gonna get people in the seats if you can't have big explosions,
Well, if you've got the money, why not make, Transformers or, Godzilla versus Kong, right? Like No, the amount of people that are
Still,
capable of making something like that are very small.
still haven't seen that, by the way.
Oh, me neither. But
Okay,
I
cool.
imagine it looks good.
I mean, it visually looks fine. I hear the
Right,
biggest
exactly.
problem is the human stuff, but like,
Oh,
yeah,
so just like Godzilla 2018.
yeah, which is weird because
Maybe we're not.
I kind of like the idea of where that plot was going with the human stuff, but I just didn't like how it was delivered, I guess. Um,
Yeah, sure. I thought it was pretty awful.
well, maybe you guys have different tastes, so how about that?
Hey, maybe we do. I really liked all the stuff where Godzilla was,
Doing Godzilla
making a
stuff.
mess.
I love the part
Yeah.
when Godzilla went rah 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 rah, then Godzilla's all
Yeah.
over the place.
Yeah, that was my favorite part.
Visually, yeah.
Could have been 2 hours of Godzillaing everywhere, and I would have
Yeah.
been more happy.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been the best way to do it. Remember Zilla?
Vaguely.
The like American bastardization of Godzilla.
Yeah.
I remember we had that DVD at my parents' house, and every time I saw it, I'm like, this looks stupid. Even just seeing the cover of it, it's like this just doesn't. This just screams
This
like.
this does not give confidence.
No, no. It looked like it was the physical version of a Monster Energy drink that's been in the fridge for 20 years. That's what I felt when I looked at it. It's like this doesn't smell right.
Yeah, it's like I'm off put.
Yeah. Anyway, so the whole reason I brought up the sort of indie concept is because this film is very much in that variety, um, in that it's just a mom and like a mom raising her kids, with the one exception being the fact that um, she fucked a werewolf. I don't really know how else to put it without it sounding weird. She just had sex with a werewolf.
Well, yeah, you could say she was in a relationship with a werewolf. We could like
She was, but she also
they
fucked it.
they seem to really like each other. It's
Mm-hmm.
a him. Come on.
Um, I'm not that subtle. They were roommates. Okay, how about that? Oh
That
my,
works for me.
oh my God, they were roommates. um, but yeah, so to give you kind of context, the movie starts out with Hana kind of going to college and doing her thing, like trying to learn, and she sees someone enter the class. I think a little later, um, taking notes and stuff, and she tries to approach him and be like, "Hey, you need to turn your slip, or else you're not going to be marked for being here." He's like, "Oh, actually, just freeloading. I'm just randomly here. I'm not actually supposed to be here." Um, and she ends up still following him around. And they sort of hit it off. They start like talking to each other, spending time with each other. And Pat brought this up when we were watching it, but he said it was very surprising how quickly you became enamored with these two characters.
Yeah. Um, I agree. I noticed while watching it the second time, because the first time was probably 3 or 4 years ago now. It is interesting how much, how quickly they, like Pat said, you get you enamored with these characters, and they don't really. I guess there's got to be a lot going on that's very subtle, because I'm still trying to like break down all the components, but it is
Well,
very good.
Well, so the big thing for me is it shows like Ame just trying to live a normal life, and that kind of is what's endearing about her. She's just like a college kid. Like everyone knows what it's like going through college, having a part time job, reading, learning, being in this like relationship, and just kind of experiencing life in the city. And it's kind of something that like everyone's related to at some point. Someone's related to part of that position, you know.
Yeah.
She's just like a normal person doing her best, and I think that's genuine. As well as there's a lot of moments where Hana is explaining her personal life. Like early on, they explain that Hana's name is related to a flower, and her grandma or grandpa is just like, just try to smile through everything, and she does that a lot, and you kind of get a feel for, like, okay, so Hana's just very stubborn but still caring. Like she cares and has a lot of love to give. Um,
Oh yeah.
I think that's like the big thing of what makes you feel for her, um, as well as like I'm trying to think, as well as just like I don't know, she's just relatable. And I
Yeah,
think that's what's important.
I think she's like a really idealized version of a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people because she's like, doing her best. Like you said, she's going to school and working a job, so it would seem she's trying to, make sure her life goes really well. And then as, the plot progresses, she never stops, like working really hard and, fighting to help the people she loves. So it's like very
She felt
admirable. You see
she
her and you're like, she's doing really good work.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like she literally has some point she's like, I barely get any sleep, but I still push for my kids, and it's just like that's kind of genuine. It's kind of sweet.
Oh yeah.
But I guess we can go to the big upsetting thing that happens within the film itself. I guess spoilers. Please go see the movie beforehand, because to give context, I think she gives birth to Yuki first, during a rainstorm, and then Ame a few years later. I think a year later, Ame's born. So Yuki's around for a year, and then there's Ame.
Mm-hmm.
And um, when Yuki was born, he go ahead.
I guess it's worth noting there's something very particular about our boy here. And that is he's a werewolf.
Oh yeah, he's a werewolf. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
kind of another thing that makes you feel with these two characters is that he feels close enough to Hana to give such like an intimate like secret. And she clearly like still cares for him even with this information. Um,
Oh yeah.
which once
Which
again,
is
like,
like it's what we would like expect and what we would like to happen. So it's very
mm,
nice to see.
agreed.
It's like it's Christmas time when she finds out about this, based
Mm.
on like the decorations around the city. So they've probably been together for a few months now, is what I would take that as, since she finds him like at school. And then the other thing, the detail I really liked, the first time she's describing him, she mentions he's always wearing this white t-shirt that's got a really stretched out neck. And I think
Oh,
that's a nice detail, but I wonder if it would have been better if she didn't like say that and instead we just noticed it on our own.
well, so okay, we should clarify. I've seen both the dub and the sub now. I just watched the dub with James. I In the sub
Sub.
she never mentions that, or in the dub she never mentions that. I don't believe.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but I think she more mentions like that's the moment that Dad transformed. And there was a mention of the shirt, but that I didn't even notice that. And I think that's kind of cool to kind of. It's kind of like a Hulk situation where you have to explain how Hulk keeps his pants on, you know.
Right. Well, this is like believable because
Mm.
I don't know, you know how wolves look. They've got thicker necks than we do,
They got
but
big
it
boy
is like a
necks.
yeah, but it's a nice touch. I like it.
Mm-hmm. So where were we before all that?
Oh, so I guess yeah, meet up. Uh they're hanging out for a few months. He's a werewolf. The scene where she discovers he's a werewolf and the scene where they procreate are side by side. So she's she's got secrets she's not telling us about, apparently.
Oh
She's
yeah,
into
well
things.
that's the most realistic part. She's a teenage or she's a college student, so obviously she wants to have that college experience of having sex with a werewolf, as every college
Right.
girl wants.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
My time
that's
in
true.
college has been filled with that.
With you want to be fucked by a werewolf,
Exactly.
or you being denied by women because you are not a werewolf.
You know, probably both.
You go to college, you're like, hey babe, and she's like, I'm sorry, do you transform at midnight?
Are you a werewolf? No. You're at least a vampire, right? And it's like, dude, I'm not that pale. So she's like, ugh, all right.
How are you so pale in where you live? I didn't. I
In
saved
Florida,
it. Oh.
it's easy. Don't go outside.
True. I was trying not trying to give out your
Dox
personal
me.
info.
It's all
Yeah,
right. The state's pretty big.
it's true. It's true. Fair enough. Fair enough. But there's only so many young people there.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah. So after Yuki is born. Sorry. After Yuki is born, he goes out and like hunts a bird and like brings it home, cooks it. It's a very sweet moment. And it's like it's clear he's not very good at cooking, but still Hana doesn't mind and like still eats the food very happily. Which is another like moment of just showing like Hana's willingness to help others and just her overall nature. And I think after that, like a year passes, and then Ame is born.
Yeah, they're 1 year apart from each other. It looks like.
And this is when the big thing happens, where Dad doesn't come home this time after the hunt. There's like some groceries he left outside and his driver's license, which I guess makes sense. He is. I was thinking like, why did he do? Like, was he plan on dying beforehand? But then I kind of realized like if he's gets injured and they find a wallet on the wolf, that'd be kind of weird.
Yeah. Also, I imagine because it doesn't seem like he's wearing clothes when he's transformed, so
Yeah,
it makes sense that he would leave it with them.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, he's out trying to get some food. She runs out with her kids and unfortunately sees him by the bridge that he was going to tell her the secret on. And he's dead. And they kind of throw his body into just a trash can, not trash can, a trash car.
Like, yeah, garbage truck.
Yeah, garbage truck. Thank you for the assist. I sound very smart tonight.
I got you.
They throw his body in a garbage truck. And the thing that I want to point out here, something we don't really talk about ever, is sound mixing in movies. Because one of those things you really don't think about if you don't have the right setup for it. Like if you're watching something on a computer or a TV with just like mono sound, you're only ever going to hear things coming out from one side. But when you listen to something like headphones or like with a stereo sound, you could hear like the little details of the mixing of where everything goes. And this film has this in spades. During the scene where the reveal of the boyfriend happens, the rain in each time they cut gets louder and louder and louder, until after the body's picked up, it's just deafening. Like you can hear her crying, but the rain is just overpowering the sound. And it is one of the most terrifying moments like in the film, because you're just like, oh fuck. Like you're like, everything's fine so far, and then at this point it falls apart.
They like cut the sound as soon as his body shows up in frame. And they hold it there for a second so we can hear her reaction to it, and then the rain fades back in.
And it's so, I think the first sound that comes back first is the rustling of like putting the garbage bag, and then the rain comes in, and it's so powerful. I remember when I was watching, there's gonna be a lot of me saying what I was watching with Pat, because I feel like it's nice to have like another person's viewpoint on the whole thing. But Pat, like his jaw dropped. He was like, "Oh fuck!" Like he didn't. It's very surprising.
It hits pretty suddenly.
If you don't know the plot or how things turn out, then yeah, you're just like, oh, this is gonna be harder than we thought. And the movie kind of like plays with that too, because immediately she's like, okay, I've read every single book on how to raise a kid. and wolves. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, and it's a bit of a mess. Two kids seems like it would be pretty overwhelming, and then it's just her.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's also living, like I said, in the big city. Um, so she has to take care of these two children who are randomly at any point can turn into wolves. Um, and like literally, like you could see them like they'll shake their head and like their ears will pop up. Their fur, I guess their fur and their like skin color lightens, which I liked. I like that little effect where like the it kind of gives you more of a distinction besides just the ears.
Yeah,
But like the two kids are like not in control of their powers yet. And she's given a lot of shit for it. Like neighbors are yelling at her. She isn't able to talk with the other parents, and she doesn't have any income either, due to the fact that she's living off of whatever's in the husband's wallet.
yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever savings he has, and yeah, the kids, the girl especially, is like super hyperactive, so she's always running around and gnawing on things. And she eats a ton as well.
Yeah,
So
the kneading scene where like her teeth grow in and her immediate reaction to it is to bite literally everything.
oh yeah, just tearing up the house.
Mm-hmm. She eats some Celica pellets, and I won't tell you what happens, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Um, da, 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 da.
She's, she's super tired this whole time too, so she's like constantly dozing off.
Mm-hmm. Every minute, I think she said like every minute moment she had, she would nod off, and then like as a fucking asshole move, like Yuki would just ask for her and then laugh and then go back to eating. Like fuck you, your mom's trying to sleep, you small child.
Yeah.
How
Enjoy
dare
your
you?
food. Come on.
But eventually gets to a point where she's like, okay, we have to move. We cannot live in this because I think even child protective services come by her house.
Yeah, she doesn't like take them to get checked up on or get them vaccinated or anything because they can turn into wolves. So we're
Yep.
trying to keep that a secret. Also, they turn into wolves, so they're like howling at night, and now the owner of the apartment thinks that she's got dogs, and that's against the rules. And just, taking care of them both, keeping them quiet when you're in an apartment building, all the neighbors are pissed off, just like you said. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a big mess, and she says, think we gotta move.
I remember when I lived in my old apartment, people were pissed off at Mama, and I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do about her. She's a cat. She meows. Like literally, I would come home and I would hear her from like the other side of the apartment complex as I'm going to the third floor. Like I'm at the third floor and like I open the door and I can hear her meowing. Just like yeah, she's a cat. She's gonna meow. These walls aren't soundproof. What the fuck do you want me to do? Like
That's a loud cat.
oh no, don't no. She was not a loud cat. The walls were very useless.
I gotcha.
Like
You
almost
could
every
practically
night.
see through them.
Yeah, like literally every night when I would try to go to bed, I would hear like the wall in front of me, like a banging from behind. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Someone's just having very intimate moment with each other, and I'm here having to listen to it. Great.
Romantic.
Very romantic, yeah. Ugh.
Love to see it.
Ugh, not really. But anyways, back to fun film. Yeah, they end up moving out into the I guess what would it just like not the mountains, yeah. She moves to the
Yeah,
mountains.
we uh, you
Good.
could call it like a more rural area. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a countryside.
The guy specifically mentions that like there's nobody for miles. The nearest grocery store is 5 hours away.
Oh yeah, it's like 2.5 hour drive to get to the schools.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no one else around really. Like they're all kind of far away. The place that she's looking at is like falling apart. like broken windows. It's all abandoned. The rent's really cheap, but you're gonna need to fix it up, and you can't grow your own food really because animals from the mountain are gonna come down and dig it up.
Mm-hmm. And she's just like, "Fuck you, give it to me."
She's like, "Yep, I want it."
He gets right to work fixing it up, like not even waiting a moment. And I think this is another great moment that really gets overlooked when people talk about the film is when she's like rebuilding the house.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing I could take away from this film is like every time that she does a task or something, she is rewarded in one way or another. Um, and the big thing here is when she was cleaning the house, she starts to realize like all the little cute details. I think one of the big first ones is she's wiping the glass, like a stained glass, and she sees like, oh, there's actual images on here, and like the little details like that of her being like genuinely happy with her progress and like feeling rewarded for it.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's nice to know that she feels like this is to her benefit, and she doesn't feel like she's wasting her time with this, or she has any regrets about where she is.
No, because every time that you feel like she's going to give up, she just doesn't, and she keeps pushing herself further and further. Back to that whole smiling thing. Anytime that she's like dealt with a problem or something, her immediate thought is to just smile and just keep pushing. Which is something I've kind of integrated in my own personal life after seeing this movie. I saw this movie originally at the perfect time where I was like at a very low spot. And this movie kind of like did a lot to help me like reevaluate myself and kind of understand something. This is not stupid, dumb film talk. This is just like personal talk. It feels very personal to me.
No, it works because she's very much rewarded for her efforts in the end. So it's good. Good lesson on your determination and whatnot.
Literally. Yeah, she like rebuilds the entire house. She makes food, and then she starts trying to grow crops. And like this is all done in like a montage scene. She talks with her kids, trying to give them some advice. And I guess we haven't really talked about or touched upon it. Visually, James, what do you think? I know you haven't seen many film or anime films, but like compared to what you've seen of like other 2D animation stuff, like do you think this stands up for being a 2012 film?
Yeah, I think so. That's like 10 years ago now. I guess I don't really know the evolution of anime and how it looks. There are quite a few scenes, especially some of the POV shots where like the world looks really nice. And then but I noticed the characters always seem not like bad, but like limited on detail heavily, which I don't know, it stands out to me a little bit when your characters are pretty, I'll say like plain, while your world looks really, really good. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I'm in two camps on this one. I think it might have been it might have been done on purpose, just due to the fact that they were trying to keep Ame and everyone very simply designed, Hana especially, because like you're trying to make someone relatable. His thought process was, I need to make sure that she looks very simple, very basic, something that everyone can get with.
I gotcha. Easy to imprint on.
And the wolf designs when the kids are transforming are more intricate than their base designs, which might also be the reason for that. Because then all the stuff when they're in the forest and doing all the stuff in the woods is always like more interesting to see visually than it is when they're just humans.
Yeah.
But I can also understand like the idea of like it might have just been because of a cheaper budget, and he's just trying to find workarounds of I only have so much money being my own business right now. I can only do so much, so I'll work with what I can. I'll make sure everything visually in the background looks good, and the characters can just be bleh. Because I think even I admitted like the werewolf character is not like he's like your first thought.
Oh, he's pretty basic.
Yeah, he's like the first draft of like a character design.
Yeah, boy werewolf. He's sort of edgy.
Yeah, Which there's nothing bad about that. It kind of, I think it might. No, it's like I said, it's in two camps for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I wonder. I don't really know the process of like animating for films like this, but if the background's going to be, stagnant while your characters move around in the foreground, I imagine, is it like easy enough to make your background look really nice and then just have, because you can work on that because you're going to use that background for like every shot in this scene, and then the
Kind of have
characters
the
that are going to move every time, like put less effort into them.
a lot of anime does that for especially for action scenes. They'll try to put as little work as possible into the actual movement to make sure that like visually everything in the background looks great. Dragon Ball Z is a big problem with that. Like visually everything in the background looks really good.
One sec. My headset's dying. One sec.
No. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to still be talking. Hello.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thanks. Carry on.
But Dragon Ball Z has a big problem with that, where the fight scenes where like everyone kind of stands around, and they kind of talk to each other. So the only thing you really have to do is just kind of move the mouth animation, and occasionally have their heads turn. Oh, I just got an ad for Dragon Ball Z. Neat. But when they're fighting, it's a lot of just like implied hits. Like they'll throw their fists really quickly, but it's like the same animation over and over again. So it's just like a way for things to be done quicker, especially in films or in anime specifically. But with a film like this, I think it's just because of the lower budget. It might be because of time restraints or anything. It might just be lower budget.
I gotcha.
I guess the best way to describe it would be like, you've seen Bob's Burgers, right?
Seen what?
Bob's Burgers.
Oh, yeah.
So Bob's Burgers visual aesthetic is very simple, very limited, like not limited movement and emotions, but like there's a clear level of where every character can move. But then if you watch the movie, there's like shading, the characters are more expressive, they're more animated. So it's kind of like that compared to like an anime show and an anime movie.
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So I hope that answers your question. Now,
yeah, no, that all follows. And like I said, I don't think it ever like put me off or anything, but it is something I was thinking about throughout.
Yeah, you kind of like in the back of your mind. I know there's like some shots, specifically the one I'm thinking of is during the winter scene, which we could talk about here in a second. But where she's running along with the kids and her face is very, very big. It looks kind of weird. Like a lot, like even the photos I'm looking at right now, some of her faces are just like she's got a very, very small eyes for such a large face. But I still enjoy it. I think visually, I still have fun watching it. And like all the little movements she does. So yeah, we can talk about the snow scene now, right? Are we about that point? Is there anything I missed so far?
We can talk about the farming a little bit, but
I forgot about the based old man.
Yeah, based old man.
Yeah, the based old man
character.
I mean, so he's written very. In the dub, he's the same behavior but slightly tweaked. If that makes any sense.
What changes?
Like he's more aggressive with his demands, I guess would be the best. Like he's just like, you're doing this wrong, this is how you do it, this is you gotta do it this way. In this one he's still like that, but it's like he feels less like angry. He just feels more old man. I don't know. You would have to watch a dub to kind of get it, but I like the dubbed version more of this character, which I know if I know, everyone's gonna get on my case about that. Like, no, sub's the way to go. It's how it was meant to be. See, ba ba da ba da. But it's still like it's. Shut up.
I'm I figure either could be done well or poorly, so
It really depends on the script.
I got imagine it just depends on what you're dealing with. Did you watch what was that show everyone was really into for like 3 weeks and then it was over?
My Hero.
No.
Okay.
Squid Game. Did you watch
Squid
that?
Game. No, I did not. But I know the dub is terrible.
The dub's really rough. Like because I it had always previously been like, oh, I'd just rather watch the dub, It's just not like I can't read or I'm bad at it, but like, why would I like I'm watching a show, just give me the dub. And then after watching the dub of that, I was like, I get it now. I see it. I understand. My mistake, everyone.
The big thing too, we watched The Wind Rises and we watched the dub of it, and you could see or notice like certain phrases and terminology doesn't line up well with English translation. There's a lot of moments where he just says a line, or like there's a girl in it, like the sister character, who says a line. She's just like, it's very stilted, very unnatural of how she said it. But then you watch the sub and you're like, okay, that makes it much clearer. The translation sounds more clear and her tone sounds more correct. So it really just depends on how much the translators care and what they can do to kind of fix it.
I gotcha.
But yeah, the old man is super cool. His whole thing is that he's trying to teach Hana how to properly plant potatoes in the garden that previously everyone was like, you can't plant here, it's going to be fucking impossible. But once again, Hana, being the character she is, does not listen to anybody and just bunkers down and gets to work, or hunkers down.
Oh yeah. She goes through a few iterations of her garden that go poorly, all the plants die, and then old man comes over and just like tells her what she's doing wrong, and it works out great in the end. In fact, it works out so good, she's the only one who manages to grow potatoes because everyone else's potatoes get messed up by animals. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, so specifically, they were just talking about their farms, and like each person grows a different thing. That's like kind of what's implied by them giving her all different stuff. But they mentioned several times about how a wild boar kept fucking with their plants, and they couldn't grow as many crops. Earlier in the movie, we learned that one of the children, Yuki specifically, found a wild boar, and her thought process was, "Yep, I'm a pee on that." So it's a very cute moment where everyone's just like, "It's so weird that all of your crops grew this year, but no one else's. What's your secret?" And immediately Yuki runs by and says, "I have to go pee." And it's like a moment where you can figure it out yourself. But it's just such a cute little thing. It's a cute little detail, which I love. They do that several times in this movie. They have like cute little callbacks and throwaway comments that come back. It's always just super nice.
Oh yeah.
Very nice to see. Indeed. They make mention of how like the old man like has a thing for Hana and keeps talking about her even behind her back. Which we agreed is a very, very healthy relationship, right, James?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, clearly. And I think is the snow scene's next, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite visual, just visuals I think ever. Every time I watch it, I can't help but like break into tears. And much like you were saying earlier, James, you don't know how that it happens, but every time I fall apart for it, and I can't figure out why for the life of me. I think it's go
ahead. Just to we finished this and then started recording. I guess looking at it now, it is nice because this feels like a really well-earned break for everybody. Because like the kids, when they were babies, they needed constant attention, and then even as they're getting older, like they'll fight with each other occasionally, and
Mm.
like they're not really operating on the same wavelength. Like we said, Yuki's really like hyperactive, always running around and like playing with bugs and snakes and whatnot, and then the boy is
Ame, yeah.
not. Yeah, Ame is not like that. He's usually in human form and just kind of quiet and chilling off to the side.
Mm.
And then she's obviously working really hard, going through all the hardships, trying to like work with what little money she has and grow the crops and everything. When by the time this scene comes around, like people really like her because she managed to grow her potatoes excellently, and then the kids are both not like self-sufficient, but they're both happy at this time and playing with each other. And it's just sweet that we've kind of caught a break for ourselves here.
I think that's part of it. I think you're absolutely right. I think that combined with the music, which gets me every time, the visuals of the kids like running through all the snow, and like down the hill, and Hana with them, just Hana just running alongside happily and falling and stumbling through all the snow as it like flies into it. Just it's the whole thing is just like a cacophony of every element of visual storytelling, like perfectly done, you know.
Absolutely.
And I think it's one of those moments where like you watch it and go like this, not to quote a guy who hates Marvel films, but this is cinema, you know. I really
Yeah.
do feel like it's one of those moments that if I saw it in theaters, I mean, I still break down and cry, but I feel like I would actually have to leave the theater because I would just be ugly crying super hard. And it ends on such like this like powerful cacophony of them howling just in the wilderness, and the music kind of slows down and dies off, and it just feels so satisfying to have happen. Um,
Yeah.
so you're at this like vulnerable state in this moment in the movie where you're like, oh, everyone's happy, it's so great, it's so good, and then Ame feel a little full of himself, decides to try and take down a bird that's trying to hunt a fish, and falls straight into a water in the middle of winter.
Yeah, he's apparently not a good swimmer or a
No,
swimmer at all.
no. He quite
It
literally just starts doggy paddling.
I have a bad habit of finding uh
Mm,
little I people getting like tripping or something kind of funny, because
mm,
the first time, the other example I can think of was in Frozen, right at the beginning,
mm.
when Anna and Elsa are playing and Elsa accident like trips or something and fires a little ice bolt straight into Anna, and it like knocks her unconscious. I laughed, but that was like a pretty serious moment that like kind of kicks off the whole rest of the plot. In this, uh Ame's wearing a scarf and he accidentally steps on it while he's got the bird, and that makes him fall in the river. And at first I laughed and I was like, oh no, he's gonna get like hurt, isn't he? This is bad, isn't it? Shouldn't laugh at this.
You just find it funny when people make mistakes. You're like, what an idiot. Uh oh.
Oh no, there might be consequences to this one. Yep,
What
exactly.
I didn't even think about it when you're talking about it with the film, but like the idea that it was the scarf, something that that his mother had made for him, that made him fall, kind of like might have been part of the catalyst that turns him into who he is in the future, where he becomes like after this happens, he's fine, he gets saved, um, but he becomes more interested in nature and living in the mountain, and
Yeah, this seems to like really pique his interest in being a wolf,
mm-hmm,
whereas like we said before, he was mostly chilling as a human.
mm-hmm,
And funnily
um,
enough, at the same time, Yuki has found out about school, and she really wants to go now and be with the other kids. And of course, mom's like, "You gotta, hey, that's okay. Maybe we can do that, but you're not allowed to be turning into a wolf. That's no good. It'll scare the other kids.
Mm-hmm. And I brought this up on when I was talking with James during the film. What's the thing that she says in this version?
She says, "Piggy promise, promise kept."
They kept saying that, and every time I got a little, I felt my eye do a little twitch, because in the English dub, she just says, "I'm gonna be a little girl all the way home," which I think is super cute, and also more important to the story as a whole, because it's kind of like it's one of those moments where Hana's advice might have hindered the child, um, if done poorly, because she kind of gives um, Yuki that thought process of, you have to stay human, you have to be a good human, you have to be a good girl, you have to get through school, and you can do it because I know you can, you know. But it sort of starts to have an effect on Yuki and Ame's relationship because of this like belief that she's put into her daughter.
Yeah. Um, I don't think it's all the mom. Like Yuki pushed really hard to want to be like the other girls
Mm.
with the dress, but
Yeah, but
yeah, they definitely. Oh, go ahead.
I prefer the dub in that regard too, just because I think it has more of a importance to the story. Like the "I want to be a little girl all the way home" line. I mean,
Right, I gotcha.
mm.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
um, but yeah. So Yuki starts school. First day is kind of rough, but she kind of gets into the swing of things of how everything goes. Um,
It seems to work out pretty well for her. It's funny because she's like faster than all the other kids, and at lunch she's just like inhaling all her food. But
hmm.
she makes friends.
Makes friends pretty quickly. Um, until of course she starts to start growing up more and more, and they find out she's into some weird stuff.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she's like they've got all their like I don't even know, like beads and like rhinestones that they're showing off to each other. They're like, Yuki, what kind of treasures do you have? And she's got like a bunch of animal bones and like
Literally,
snake skins and stuff like that.
when she opens up the case, when she opens up the case, like the smell, it like lingers. You can literally see it in the film.
Yeah,
Um,
I know. So that was a nice touch. There's just like a
mm-hmm,
cloud that pops out when she opens the box.
mm-hmm. And that kind of, like you said, kind of helps push her to have her mom make her like be like, I want to be more ladylike. I want to be more like a girl, um,
Right.
which kind of also has that negative effect. Well, not negative, but the effect of her wanting to become more human. Um, and it's interesting too because, like you said, this happens around the same time that Ame wants to learn more about like the woods and the forests and the mountains. So Hana gets a job at a well, what would it be called? What would you call that?
You could do like a nature conservatory or something like that.
Yeah, something very similar to that. And he starts spending a lot of time with her there. There's like a montage again of the two of them going to school, and it's clear like Ame does not have any interest in it.
Yeah, Almay's in the back of the class, not really paying attention, not talking to anybody.
Gets
And
kind of
then
bullied,
yeah, it gets bullied and it keeps like the scene keeps transitioning between the two of them.
which I think is a
Yeah.
cool concept, like a cool visual.
Oh, I like how it looks
Mm-hmm.
because it's like all the classes are in a row, so it's like the first grade room, it shows Ame, and then it pans over to the second grade room, and Yoki's like, losing her shit, raising her hand, getting all excited about answering questions and participating. And then it pans back, and he's still doing the same thing. Then it progresses the whole thing forward, so we know a year has passed, and they're in new classes doing the same thing. It's
Mm.
real good. I like it.
It's very well done. It's very well done. And once again, the piano kind of is very powerful too. Like I think the. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was rain outside. It was very. It sounded very loud, but it's not. But the piano kind of falters a bit when it goes back to see that Ami's not there, which I really like as a detail. Because everything was kind of going smoothly, perfectly. And when Ame just is gone, he's like, oh, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I love shit like that. I cannot praise this music enough. I'm just gonna look who did the music already. Fuck it. Ann Sully and oh god, Masaka Takagaki. Yeah, there you go. Got it. Takagaki
Nailed it.
Nailed it. I made the mistake of finding out that the whole playlist is on Spotify, and the day after I watched it, I was just listening. I was just crying while I was driving. I'm like, why would I do this? What's wrong with me? Why would I make myself sad while going to work? I'm gonna be sad at work.
That's like the worst.
It's literally the worst.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we just kind of reached to the end of the story, right?
I think so. I guess the next thing that happens is the boy shows up.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a name.
I think his name is Sohei.
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 Okay.
Sohei.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so Sohei shows up. He's like a transfer student. And immediately, frame one, he sniffs out her bullshit. He's like, "Hey, you smell like a dog." And apparently,
like, do you have dogs? No. Why? Oh, you just smell like animals. Oh.
Apparently, you're not supposed to say that to someone else because that makes them feel uncomfortable. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, sure. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she immediately like tries to avoid him at all costs, not interact with him, and for some reason, this guy just, like many men, doesn't know how to take no for an answer.
Ah, yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's like trying to get her attention, like following her around school while she's very clearly just trying to avoid him.
Mm-hmm. And it all culminates. Good.
Oh yeah, just eventually he corners her and isn't letting her get away, so she whips out the claws on him and scratches his ear. And there's some drama behind that. Mom gets called in. She apologizes. Sohei's mom is pissed, rightfully so, honestly. But Sohei says, nope, wasn't her, it was a wolf. So she kind of gets off the hook, but she's still feeling real bad about this. She feels like she's kind of failed everything at this point because the whole time she's been saying, she's gonna be a girl, not switch to a wolf, and it's all bad.
Yeah, it kind of like she tries to go back to school for everything to be normal, but like she just can't do it. And she immediately just decides to go home with her mom immediately after, and like she clearly shows remorse. And once again, I don't. If you could play it back just to be sure, I don't think there's any music for when she talks to her mom there, right?
In the car?
Yeah.
I'll double check real quick. Yeah, no, there's nothing.
Which, once again, I think, I can't believe I'm saying this, but M. Night said it best. What do you make mention of? Sometimes it's better to have no music in a scene. And this is one of those, because it's more of like a intimate moment with these two characters, where they're both talking about a very like something that like she was very excited for, very happy for, all for it just to fall apart once,
Oh yeah.
It's very good. It's a very good moment. I really like it. But then apparently Sohei doesn't still understand no means no after getting clawed, and starts going to her house And like giving her. Go ahead.
It's nice intentions. He's bringing her snacks and like homework and that sort of thing.
I think your specific line for it was he was trying to make her docile. Trying to teach a dog, but you're like, here's a treat, boy. Come here, girl.
Be nice, be nice. There you go. Okay, pet.
Literally.
Yep. But
go ahead.
That works. That's fine. She's like not talking at all, and then one day, mom catches Hana, while he comes over and they have a conversation.
The conversation is basically about wolves. She was like, "Yeah, what do you think of them?" He's like, they're pretty nifty.
Yeah, they're fine. I don't hate them, despite the ear damage.
But good on him. Good on him.
One detail I like, when she's gonna finally go back to school, he like shows her the the wound on his ear, and he's like, "Do you want to touch it?" And she's like, hesitant, but does it. So he like holds her hand and like puts it against his ear, and then he pulls her hand away and like kind of stares at it for a minute, and she realizes what's happening and like breaks away from his grip and puts her hands behind her back.
Wait, what was he doing?
He was looking for claws. He's trying to figure out how this happened.
He was like, okay, so I know she's a werewolf, but how the fuck is she a werewolf?
Right. He's like, I thought it's funny because it's like she could have like really long nails or something, but I assume it's just normal human hands, and he's like, huh, how?
He's like, wait a second. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
This same day, Ame's like, I'm going out. Mom's like, where? He's like, to the mountain, gonna go see Sensei. Who's Sensei? Sensei is Sensei.
Sensei is Sensei.
All right, don't be out too late. Be safe. He's like, okay, leaves.
I think I remember Pat saying something like, I don't think it's normal for a child to be going up a mountain to see an old man named Sensei, because they make mention like he makes mention in the dub, I think, of him being like an elderly man, and I'm like, I don't listen.
That's a little concerning.
Yeah, it's a little more concerning in the English dub.
Yeah. I'm taking a look real quick. Talk about something else.
Oh yeah. I think Ame's character hasn't really changed. He's still very reserved, but he's become more confident, it seems. He's starting to take more of a role of like what his dad used to be, which could just be a trait of how he's grown. Which I guess is also something I haven't really talked about. The two characters are raised in the same household, but I feel like they're raised differently in the sense of nurturing and nurturing. Ame was very much nurtured as a baby just because he needed it to survive, while Yuki just kind of did whatever. Yuki was more of a free spirit, able to do what she wants. And we get a lot of scenes early on of Yuki kind of like going out in the woods, experiencing life, and like just fucking with the animals, basically getting injured, but she's okay with it. She's cool. She takes it and kind of learns.
Yeah, she's always like grabbing snakes and playing with bugs and that sort of thing.
And I think it's very interesting because it's the nature and nurture argument, but in a very different light. It's not just like, oh, well, a child's gonna end up like this because if they're being natured or if they're being nurtured. In this movie, it's very much like, no, they're literally like, one's going to live in nature and one's going to be in society.
Yeah, it's interesting because they kind of flip. Like you said, she's always out and about, where he's kind of hiding behind mom the whole time, and then there's not like she turns to hiding behind mom or anything, but they do flip. It seems like he was always more human in transitions, and then vice versa with her.
She hides behind mom in a very different way by like trying to be more effeminate, I guess would be the best way to say it. where she's like, I need to be more like the other girls.
Yeah, I guess you're right. She does
Yeah.
kind of rely on mom a lot more in those times.
Mm. That's why to me,
Yeah.
it's like it seems more like they switch over, like around, like you said, the moment where Ame learns about how to tries to catch that bird.
Yeah.
Did you find what you're looking for? Did I spend enough time?
I didn't find a part in the dub where it's like implied it's an old man.
Okay.
Uh,
I
I
thought
mean,
it was, yeah. I could be
he does
wrong.
say like he teaches me. He lives in the
Yeah,
mountains, teaches me about life. But
that definitely to me screams like an old man in the wilderness, you know. But maybe I've
I
just
think
played too
that's
many video games.
I think that's what we're kind of meant to assume, and especially since like we don't really know where he goes. But
Hmm.
I think I don't know. I when I was watching it, I remember even the first time I was like, oh, did he find like another wolf or something?
Yeah. Nope. Just like I guess do you want to do the reveal of who it was?
Oh, it's a fox lives
The
in the mountains.
fox. What
Yeah.
does the fox say?
Uh,
Please laugh.
the fox teaches you about the mountain, of
Sure,
course.
sure. Today. I'm such a silly little goober for that one.
Yeah,
Uh,
really. So Ame ends up taking Mom up to meet Sensei, and it's yeah, I guess it's like what you would expect.
the
Well,
very
she brings some food up, and she's like, "Thank you for teach my son stuff." And the fox does fox things, eats food, and moves along. But we get a
doesn't
nice
understand what humans are saying.
they're never particularly clear about that.
Mm,
I get the impression they don't, but maybe they're meant to, because we talked to the wolf earlier, and now
mm.
we're talking to the fox. It's not
She's
like
just
either of them really respond, but I
they
don't know.
kind
I don't
of
know.
they kind of know what they want to do with each other. That's a weird, yeah. That's the one weird thing about Hana. She keeps talking to animals, expecting them to speak. She
I
meets
wonder.
one.
Well,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
because I wonder, because you think the kid would be like, he doesn't understand or something like that, unless it's just all intuitive for them. I'm not sure.
Oh, hold on. I listen. I love this review. I love what we're doing here, but we have a bot in chat.
We have a bot in chat.
Yeah. Hi, I want to offer promotion of your channel viewers, followers, chat bots. The price is lower than any competitor. The quality is guaranteed to be the best. Auto on, incredibly flexible and convenient order management panel. Everything is in your hands. Turn it on, off, or customize. Go to doghype.com.
Yeah, that
That's
sounds great. Yeah,
yeah,
let's go
yeah.
to doghype.com.
Let's do
Doge hype.
that. How do I
Yeah.
delete a chat? Oh, I can purge it. Whoa.
You
Did I
could ban the
purge?
chatter too.
I can ban and purge? Oh, well, there we go.
Oh, there you go. Message deleted by a moderator.
Let's go. I did my first Twitch thing.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, where were we?
um, we were just finishing up on the animals understanding
right.
our humans.
Right. I don't
I
think they do, but I think that the fox and Ame have an understanding.
Yeah, it would seem they do. But sorry about that. Yeah, nice little montage of the fox and Ame running around. It would seem that the fox has kind of shown him how to hunt and like shown him the other creatures. Ame says that he's like I don't know the exact phrasing, but I get the impression like the master of the mountain or like the elder here who like kind of takes care of everything.
Hmm.
So
He has like things and tasks he has to do per day, is what's implied.
yeah, and he's going around and seeing all the other animals and how they're going about their day. So is it's all good stuff. I could certainly see like a call to action there for Ame, like this seems
No.
really important to him and he's gotta keep
No.
everything good.
To keep the
Yeah.
lineage going.
Yeah. And there's a nice
Yeah.
little detail right after that. Because Ame's always been really quiet. Uh mom and him are at the conservatory, and there's like this big I guess like a mural of all of like the animals in the forest and everything inside the
Oh
conservatory. And he's
yeah,
like pointing stuff out and like explaining everything and just going real deep into it.
which is a super cute moment because it's like the first time we see him open up about something and be excited for it.
You
So
guys are in Twitch chat. You understand. If you're at like a family function, someone's asking you about what sports you play, you're gonna be like, I dabbled in soccer a little bit. But then if they're like, hey, tell me about your favorite video game, you're gonna be like, let me tell you.
let me tell you about Lisa.
That's
Sit down,
right.
Grandma. I'm about to tell you
Let
about a
me tell you
game.
about Soma, the greatest atmosphere building environment. Yeah, just straight into it.
Man, I want to watch Markiplier's play through Soma. It's so good.
It's very good.
It's just I just love the idea of turning to Grandma's like, "Hey, Grandma, want to hear about a game about a girl who kills herself and starts the apocalypse?" That sounds like a fun thing to talk about during Christmas, huh?
You're ruining Christmas.
But yeah, it's one of those sweet moments where Ame's kind of opening up, and I think now is when the rainstorm happens, right?
First we get our fight, as it were.
Oh
Speaking
right.
speaking of ruining Christmas, we've kind of hit like critical mass for our kids here. Um, they're sitting at the dinner table together. Yoki's working on homework, and Ame is telling her about the mountain, and they totally get into a fight where she's going on like I'm a girl, not a wolf. I go to school. You should go to school too. That's what you're supposed to do. You're a boy. He's like, I'm not a boy. I'm a wolf. I gotta keep the mountain in check. I gotta this what I do. You should be out there with me too. You could learn a few things about hunting. Sensei's very smart, and they get in this big fight. Totally trash the house. Is real bad. What would you like?
And
Do you have anything to contribute to this little
no,
bit?
you're doing great right now.
Ah,
The
thank
big
you.
thing, I remember, the big thing I remember from that scene is Hana being just scared, and like worried about both her kids, and basically everything we saw that got destroyed was um, all of Hana's hard work, in the house at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Like the
Uh,
big go ahead.
actually, no. What were you gonna say?
Just they destroyed the walls. They destroyed like the shrine they had for the dad. Um, like just everything that she had ever worked on to make the house better. They just smashed in an instant, which is kind of important to the story due to the fact that like it's kind of a sign that their relationship's starting to crash, fall apart. Um, as they're starting to grow to go two different lives.
Yeah. Um, something we kind of skipped over at the time, but I'm thinking about it now. Early on when they were still really young and moving into the new place, Ame comes over at one point and he's like, "Mom," she's like, "Yeah, what's up?" And it looks over and he's like all scratched up and beaten up.
Uh,
And while she's like taking care of him, getting him cleaned up and everything, Yuki's like, uh you gotta stand up for yourself more, you gotta be better while you're out there in the woods, because like that wild boar, like I wouldn't have let it mess with me. In fact, I think that's when she says she peed on it.
mm-hmm.
So they could have he could have leveraged an idea of like, you wanted me to be more connected with the nature and everything. What changed? They don't do that at all, and I don't think they need to, but that's something I'm thinking about now. Is there?
That I don't think there's anything like that in the dub, but I kind of see what you're going for there. Like kind of like coming back and be like, hey, how come you're not doing that thing you said earlier, huh? How come you're treating me like I'm not? You told me to do this. This is what you said I need to do, and here I am doing it.
Yeah, like their conversation, it it's like it very much just goes in a loop 2 or 3 times. It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't really seem like either of them's really engaging very well with the other, which is
It
fair
seems.
enough because they're like they seem like they're pretty fed up and they're also young, so I'm not expecting some great philosophical debate
I
here, but
think.
I'm just thinking about if we could have done more with it.
I think they're around 10 or 12.
Yeah, I think like 12 and 13 is what
Mm-hmm.
we should assume.
Well, no. She specifically says that he's 10 years old and that he shouldn't.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
my bad. Where did I get 12 from? Yeah, no, 10 and 11 then
10,
is what he's
11. Yeah, around that age. Which I think is important because yeah, like you said, they're not really gonna like push forward or not push forward, but they're not really gonna like have deep and methodical talks. The best they're gonna do is like, I don't know, like yell at each other like children would.
Yeah.
That's kind of how children work. But yeah,
Yeah,
they
and
have this.
that's all it is. You should come to
Yeah.
school. I don't want to. Why? I'm a wolf. You're a human. I'm a wolf.
And oh man, it's so
I've
much fun.
decided I'm not a wolf. Why? Because I'm not. I'm a girl. Why? Like, guys.
It's like conservatives and Republicans talking to each other. They say the same things too. I'm a girl. No, you're a wolf. They say the exact same thing to each other.
Did you say conservatives and Republicans?
Yeah, those are two different groups, right? Please,
Okay.
Cole, fix it in post. Say that I say leftists and Republicans. Please, Cole, please, for the love of God, please.
Yeah, there you go.
Here you go. I fixed it. Fix it in post. I'm not very good politically.
We did it, Twitch chat.
Oh man, so I'm like trying to go through the memories of the scenes. Yeah, they have the big argument. I think that's next day. It's like, oh, there's gonna be this big rainstorm. Be ready for it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I do
And
also want to share. Mom is like cleaning up the house, but she doesn't like berate them or anything because she's the best mom ever.
she's literally based.
Yeah. Oh, this is Ame comes home and says Sensei hurt his leg and he can't move and he'll probably die.
Right, that.
Yeah. And at that point, I'm like, oh, jeez. And he says someone's got to take over leadership of the mountain. And mom's not a fan. She says, don't
Mom,
go back to the mountain.
yeah, mommy is like, nope, none of that.
Yeah, there it is. You're only 10 years old. You're a child.
Yeah, immediately she was like, "You are not going living out there, no siree."
Mm-hmm. I wonder if he could have brought Sensei back.
Seeing how Sensei reacted to just the normal food, I don't think he would have taken any help.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's very much like a man who would, much like an old man would in his time of need. He'd be like, when he needs help the most, he's like, I'll be fine. I'll walk it off. Sir, you have terminal.
Dirt on it.
Yeah, sir, you have terminal 3 cancer. It's fine. I'll just go to the pub. I'll be okay. Shut up.
Drink it out of my system.
Drink out cancer.
There you go.
That's the secret all along. You just gotta drink it out. But yeah, so he's like basically trying to fight with his mom, saying like, I'm gonna go live in the mountain now, and she's like, no, you are not doing that. And then I think the next day happens, and Ame is like, hey, Yuki, don't go to school, stay here. It's gonna be bad. You need to look after mom. You gotta stay here. And she's like, fuck you, I'm not. You stay here, you fucking nerd. Fucking loser nerd. Learn about trees and shit. But yeah, they go to school. Oh, right. It's something else I missed. They make mention of, I believe, oh god, what's his name? Sohei's mom is getting married. Um, and Sohei's not. Sohei doesn't know this information yet. We are informed. Um, yeah, Sohei. They go to school. Everything kind of goes exactly as Ame said, and yeah, the school is currently just flooded. Everything's flooded. There's so much water. Oh my God, Jesus. And the only people that are left after everything is Sohei and Yuki.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we're canceling all the afternoon classes, and we called all your parents. They're gonna come pick you up. Uh, Back home, Ahana, gets the phone call, and she's like, oh yeah, I'll come in. Ame, let's go. Get your sister. And Ame has, she sees him like leaving, and puts on a raincoat and goes into the woods after him.
Um, and this makes the Ahana starts her journey through the wilderness trying to find any sign of her baby boy. Like any sort of clue of where he could be or where he's gone, and she's finding nothing. The only thing she sees, unfortunately, is a bear and her. Well, just a bear at the start. Um, and once again, the rain comes back in at this moment to kind of like emphasize the serenity of or the seriousness of the moment, where like she feels scared and unsure of what to do, which I think also is important because is it Ame is rain, right? I'd make sure that's right before I get it right. Yeah,
Make sure
Ame.
it's right before I get
Ame
it right.
means
Is
rain.
that like
Yeah.
that's like a really optimistic POV. I like it.
Yep. Yeah, it's on brand for the movie.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Ame's name means rain. And I guess this kind of helps with the idea of her wanting to find her baby boy out in the rain. She's trying to find her Ame in the Ame. But she's struggling. She's barely able to keep walking forward. Like she's clearly tired. I think it's implied that she does it like nearly all night, just trying to find her child. And the next day, she wakes up. Well, before that, she has a vision of her husband, and her husband's basically just like, "Hey, you did a good job. It's time to let him go. He's grown up." Which I think is weird to say that a 10-year-old is a grown up. But like in terms,
It is in wolf years.
yeah, as I say, in terms of the movie, it makes sense of what that means. It's just it's still to me. I'm just like,
Yeah.
you're grown up when you can pay taxes. That's when you're really grown up.
And even then, not really sure.
Yeah, I just spent $30 or $50 on like plushes. I still pay taxes. I wouldn't call myself an adult just yet. Right across from where I'm recording this, I have two giant, oversized Yoshis, a Dr. Mario, and an Among Us. I am well adjusted to society.
I
Where
was
is a
convinced until the Among Us.
you're with me till the Among? No, the Among Us is funny. Shut up.
Funny joke.
Funny joke. But eventually, I think. Well, not. I don't think. Eventually, Ame finds his mother just in the middle of the woods, lying in a puddle of water. And he carries her to the school parking lot. And once again, I keep hating to do this, but in the dub, the line I think she delivers at the end is, "I still have so much to teach you. I feel like I haven't taught you anything. I'm sorry." Before he runs up the mountain. What did she say in the sub?
Something kind of similar. Pulling it up. Ame. Oh,
Ame,
Ame.
Ame.
He's a doggo at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna leave? I still haven't been able to do anything for you.
Yeah, that's right. I still haven't been able to. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the
I
line of.
still haven't, but you're still. I like how when she says I haven't been able to do anything for you, he like turns around with his mouth kind of gaping open.
Because he's just like, oh, you did so much for me. I don't know what you mean.
Definitely a sense of what you've
Mm-hmm.
done so much already.
Which is, I think, is very sweet. It's one of those moments where the character doesn't really need to say anything.
Oh, you know exactly what he's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking it too. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're
You
we're we're at an hour 48 minutes in at this point. Like we have thoroughly set this up.
plus Ame is always in the background watching his mom struggle and do all these things for them. Um, so it's like he's seen everything that he's done for her. You know.
Oh, absolutely. He seems very, I
Very
don't want to say
grateful.
like, yeah, very aware,
Mm-hmm.
mature in that sense.
Right. I think it's important for any kid to have a perspective too.
Oh, as much as they can, you know.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he runs to the top of this like this great, beautiful not fountain. Jesus, I'm tired. My
Mountain?
brain, well, mountain, but there's like a waterfall.
Like
That's it.
oh yeah.
Yeah, there's like a waterfall, and he's doing some hopping and like running all the way up there, and it ends with him like basically howling. Just think about it, it's like make me tear up. Fuck. Um, but he's howling out her as the sun rises, and the implied thought is that supposed to symbolize like a cleansing of the world, of like accepting everything as it is for Hana.
I
Which
don't think you need to say implied. It's said pretty directly.
yeah, literally, they literally said like, oh yeah, mom was thought that like the world was cleaned off that day.
Yeah,
I think
freshly
it's,
washed over.
mm-hmm. Which I think is a
For viewpoint.
very cute idea, if not a bit Catholic. That's right. I knew it all along.
There's
Scooby
always an
was.
agenda.
There's always an agenda.
I guess it's
But
kind of worth noting this whole time, any narration that was done, which hasn't been a lot, but it's been here and there. It's done by Yoki.
yeah, Yuki. Yeah.
Yuki, my bad.
Yuki's kind of talking about how like her mom told her this story as like she was getting ready to go to school. I think it's a very cute concept for the story to take place. And I think overall the way it ends is very satisfying. It ends with just seeing Hana finally peaceful in her like literal barn house, listening as the wind carries a howl, and her just satisfyingly sitting there. Because she deserves it. We've seen her grow up from being like a high school or college student to being a full grown mom, happily to help her kids throughout everything.
Yeah.
And it's a very satisfying end. No big climactic finish, no big like big bad or anything.
Final
it's just
battle.
no. The final battle was with a rainstorm, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so she's just kind of at peace, and you definitely get this. Yuki goes to I think she lives in the dorms for
Yeah.
like the rest of her schooling. So it is just kind of mom on her own at this point, but you definitely get the sense that, you know, her kids are still there, and she still has dinner with the little you call it a shrine that she's built for
No, that's literally what they are
the father.
for. That's what they have for a lot of deceased members of family. They'll have a shrine within the house itself,
All right.
to pay their respects.
I guess I when I think of shrine, I think more culty. It's a
Yeah.
nice like bookcase. He talked in the beginning about wanting to build a bookcase, this whole thing, and
Mm.
it's got his ID on it, and she always like makes a plate of food for him.
Takes a plate of food or some different flowers because he always enjoyed bringing home flowers.
Oh yeah. I guess I didn't really connect that in my head.
Mm. There's a lot of things like that in this movie where like little details you'll see in the background. You're just like, oh hey, yeah, that's interesting. The other one I didn't really think about was she starts with like a bike, and then as time progresses, she starts using the bus more often, till eventually she buys a full car to drive around some places.
Yeah.
Like little stuff like that to kind of give you the idea that time is progressing forward.
Mm-hmm. And they
Um,
yeah, she's not like falling asleep all the time either. Once I'd say after they move, really, like
mm-hmm.
things get a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and it just to me, I feel like I can say this safely, but I think this is my favorite film ever. But James, I want to know, what do you think of it?
I think it's very good. Um, who doesn't get it? I don't
Hmm?
think it gets like top 10. Maybe not. I think about it
Well,
more.
it would be in your top 10 anime movies, right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Well, then,
that's my favorite anime movie.
I mean, you have a very limited competition currently,
It
but
beats Ponyo. What can I say?
that's true. It's true. I also want to say Ghibli takes a lot of people. Like when people think of anime movies, they immediately go to a Ghibli film, which I guess if Ghibli is one of those studios you had to basically grow up on. If you didn't grow up on Ghibli, you're not really gonna get it. Um, but I think of this film every time when I talk about anime movies. It's the one I go to because once again it's a lot of the times with anime films it's all about like the spectacle and like the visual medium of how far can you push this 2D style. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that, but to me it's just there's something so nice about just seeing how simple a film can look and still convey so much, you know?
Hmm.
Like here, do me a favor. What's the movie called? Look up the Spirited Away bathhouse scene. There's nothing weird that happens. Well, okay. No one's naked. Hold on. Hold on, folks. I'm showing. I should just go to YouTube and find it. There's a specific character that they have. Yeah, bathhouse scene. Let's see what happens.
Send me the link.
Okay, let me find it.
I typed that into Google.
Nothing really came up.
Well, there's some stuff here, but I'm not sure what I'm looking for.
This one specifically is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And I'll watch it with you once the ad ends. But like this is one of like the big Ghibli moments, and I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of shit for talking about this specifically. Because people really like people really like Ghibli for their animation process. It's a little quality, but basically it's just big giant blob that they like they have to draw each and every one of these frames. And it's kind of weird and abstract and strange looking. Um, but the big thing, the big takeaway from it is that like it's too much in my opinion. Like the over detail of the grandma, like the slime moving's kind of cool, but the way her hair, the girl's hair, just kind of like oh god. Um, it's just a lot to me, you know.
See what you're saying?
And I get if you want to go for that style for trying to tell a story. Like I said, trying to push the animation style, I get. And Ghibli does that a lot, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Um, but Wolf Children to me will always have that special place in my heart as the anime film to think of. So yeah, James, thank you for
I
letting me
gotcha.
talk about this film.
Yeah, of course. No, I like
Um,
this one. Like I said, I
mm.
saw it. I'm pretty sure it was with you, or maybe with another friend of mine, but
It,
a few years ago, and I remembered it pretty fondly.
I want to say it
On a
was. I
on a
found this like
second,
4 years ago. I found this film.
yeah, it
And you're
could have
saying,
been. I don't know, but on a second watch through, I think I definitely appreciate it more.
well,
Little things I missed before and that sort of thing.
now your palate's been more refined to more
Yeah, that's true as
cinematic
well.
experiences.
Yeah, writing in
Um,
general.
That's the thing we really talk about is the writing. I mean, we talked about the lines and everything, but everything kind of feels very natural with how characters talk, especially
Well, we
for
talked
the.
about like their characterization, and
Mm,
we talked about a bunch of the setups and payoffs.
mm.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
This
Um,
like you said at the beginning, this isn't like some like crazy overarching plot with like a big journey necessarily.
mm.
So it's like a lot of there's not a bunch of plot details that are like in your face and need to be thought about a lot more.
You have to really sit back and kind of take the movie in and listen carefully, or in our case, read carefully.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, but James, go ahead and rate this film.
Uh,
You start. You want me to start?
yeah, why don't you go ahead and
All right.
start?
I'll rate this 2 sex scenes with a werewolf out of 2.
That's good. I'll
That's high
I'll
praise. High praise.
I'll give it a very joyous tumble down a snowy hill
Ooh,
out of
that's
two.
no. Out of 2 as well.
Yeah,
That's a pretty. That's pretty good.
that's pretty high praise.
That's high praise. That's high praise from you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's very high praise. Wow, hour 37. We talked about this movie an hour longer than we talked about Lamb.
Yeah, that's okay. I feel like there's a lot more here.
Yeah, there's a lot more substance here.
hmm
I think I don't
Sorry,
know.
lamb.
I keep thinking about Lamb. I keep thinking about how funny Lamb was of a fucking movie that was. Your mom suggested that, right?
Yeah,
What did you tell her after you watched that movie?
I was like, why?
Where's the value, Mom? I'm looking
I
for it.
definitely, they didn't pick that because they found a lot of that. I like came home from work and there was like 10 minutes left of it, and they're like, you and Cole should look at this movie. It's something. I'm like, is it like good? They're like, no. Oh, okay. I guess we could check it out.
Next thing you know.
We talked about you had mentioned that this is certainly your favorite anime movie and probably or at least potentially your favorite movie. Is this like when you think of animated pieces of work that aren't anime? Because apparently that's a distinction that the community thinks we need to make. Ha, is this still like top tier for other animations, like Western animation as well? If you were to
Oh.
include all of it into one category.
Oh. Yeah, it would still be up there if we were included in one category. I don't know if it'd be number 1.
I think my
Um,
number one is probably it's not a movie, it's a TV show. So I was gonna say Arcane is probably my favorite.
yeah, visually, I think that one's pretty good.
Y- It's absolutely gorgeous,
I can't really
and
think. I
and
have
it
to
does
like give it.
characters and plot really well.
I have to give it a real big thought because as I've grown older with time, the more I think about old, like I grew up on the Pixar era where it was like CG and like 3D models. I didn't
Mhm.
really get to catch up. I would. I want to say Aladdin, but that feels so lame. It feels like such a lame answer.
I don't think that's a lame answer.
But yeah, but I know there's something
Aladdin's
out there.
great.
I'm sure I'm gonna say that, and then as I rewatch this stream, I'm gonna be like, oh fuck, I should have said poopy pants. Oh, Killer
Right.
Bean, boom, done. Lock it in.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my number one movie. No, it's Aladdin to me has always been like I think visually appealing to me. I love the color palette of it. I love the theme. I love the tone. I love the overall aesthetic of the world. Even though yeah, it does look very similar to other Pixar films, I still like the look to it. But back to Wolf Children, I think it still would be top 5 if we had it all together still.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
just because like I still like it for its simplicity and it's like visually, like you said, nothing crazy. But there's some scenes where I'm just sitting there in awe, being like, this is a beautiful, simple moment of just characters living, and that's all I really want.
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about it more now. I haven't seen this movie in a while, but I remember when I started learning more about animation. Finding Nemo came out in 2003, and it's like gorgeous.
Yeah, I loved Finding Nemo as a kid. That would absolutely be on the list because just how beautiful the water looked and all the environments looked.
Just like, yeah, all of it, all like the shit in the water,
Mm.
like all the little particles and everything. It looks so good.
Yeah, I remember.
Looks, I haven't seen it in a while, so maybe it's aged more poorly than I think. But
I
I
don't
feel like
think
if I checked
so.
it out again, I'd still be like, yeah, this looks real good.
I don't. I think it. I think you're right. I remember specifically when I was a wee lad, I learned like, oh, there's people talking over this film about the film. I'm gonna watch that. I got like 5 minutes in. I'm like, wow, these people are boring.
True.
Where's the funny?
Hey,
Yeah, I think
that's why like harsh criticisms of movies is popular because it can be more entertaining.
yeah, true. But with that, I think that about covers it, right? Anything
Yeah,
else you wanted to ask or
no,
suggest or
I
anything?
think that's all.
All right. Actually, I do have a question for you. How is Andor? I've heard good things. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet, but I've only
Okay.
heard good things, and that includes like the most cynical of ex Star Wars fans that I know. So if they are saying it's pretty good actually, then I'm gonna give it a watch.
Hmm.
I'm gonna be watching it with Rachel. So I'll let you
Perfect.
know
Perfect.
when
I'll
I
let you know.
when I do get around to it.
I'll let
But
you know how Breaking Bad is. Pat and I are currently watching through it, as well as all of Seinfeld. So we have a very refined palate in this household.
of course, now that Better Call Saul is done, I actually got back into watching Breaking Bad. I'm
Mm.
right at the end of season 3 right now. It's been a ride.
We're on season 2 right now. Did you finish Breaking Bad all the way through?
No,
Okay. Wait.
no, this is no. I'm watching Breaking Bad. Now that Better Call Saul is finished and everyone loved it, I'm like, all right, I'm getting into it, and we're gonna see it all.
Oh no, you poor stupid idiot. No.
Be nice.
Oh no, you fool. You're supposed to watch Saul first. It's a prequel.
Yeah, no, that's not how that works.
That's how I did it. I watched Better Call
I'm
Saul first, and then I watched Breaking
I
Bad.
know. I had already started Breaking Bad though.
I legit uh watching Saul and then going to Breaking Bad was such a jarring cut because I got to see basically the end product of what the director wanted, and then I have to go now to this is what I had. This is the budget I have. I have a very limited
Right?
budget thanks to AMC, and I can only do barely what I want.
I always think it's really funny. In the first season of Game of Thrones,
Mm.
there's a battle, like the first battle with or what is meant to be with Robb Stark, and it follows Tyrion during it, but he just like gets knocked over or like knocked unconscious right at the beginning, so we don't actually see any of the battle, and then when he wakes up, they're like, "We did it, we won." It's like that's kind of funny, but then you realize, oh, they didn't have budget back then. They couldn't really do a big battle, could they?
Oh, money. Right.
Right. And it's
Right,
really funny to
money.
think about when you consider season 8, each episode cost like 15 million or something ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That's
God,
what
what
it
a
is.
money's so crazy. Money, you
Money's
so crazy.
Hey, speaking of Game of Thrones, did you see House of the Dragon?
No, because I haven't seen Game of Thrones.
No, you don't need to watch Game of Thrones. You can watch House of the Dragon.
Fine. I'll consider it. I have a winter break coming up. I'll consider watching it.
You don't need to, but it's only 10 episodes and they're like an hour each, so
Well, I heard
I highly recommend.
it's better than the Lord of the Rings show. I heard that much.
Yeah, I got through 2 episodes of that show and then I was like, we don't need to watch this one.
I love the fact that one episode ends with a scene where the reveal that that Mordor exists. One of the episodes just ends with like a text reading Mordor, and like it's like there's an establishing shot of Mordor, and then the episode just ends. That's it. It's like, wow, you're gonna tell me a location in this world that has been established is still in this location in the world? Crazy.
Funny how that works, eh?
Yeah, like it doesn't even have any like importance to like the scene or anything. It just the scene ends and then it cuts to Mordor and then the episode ends.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
It's good. It's good.
I'm sure it's very
It's
good.
great. It's great. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching.
Yes.
James, where can they find you?
They can't. You can find me here.
I think I might just end the video just right there. You can't. Very
I think that'd
powerful
be
end.
funny. Yeah. I don't do anything. You can find me in my room studying or playing video games in the off time, but that's
Oh
it.
yeah. Good luck with finals.
If I ever make content, I promise you'll hear about it.
Yay. And you
But
can find me here on this channel as well as Twitch.
that's right. And
Monday,
sometimes I'm
Wednesdays.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. We should do a tier list together.
A tier list? I'll do a tier list, absolutely.
We'll have to figure it out. We'll talk about off stream. We'll talk about the details off stream.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. So everyone, thank you so much for watching, and thank you Twitch chat
Type in the
for being
comments
here.
what kind of tier list you want to see.
True.
Also,
All
like
right.
and subscribe. Twitch
So
Prime.
yeah. All those things. Do the click the button, ring the bell, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Thank you, George Washington, for following me. And you all have a great night. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.